Yesterday I dropped a debunk video about a video that Koga posted where he shows a EVRIMA draining his strike to 0 in a matter of seconds. And it seems making a quick video about it was just not the way to go about it. My comment section, it was filled with people feeling like I was on drugs and coping as an Omni main. And fair enough, I get it. I really jumped the gun and I should have taken the time to explain exactly what I meant. And today I'm gonna try to correct it so that everyone understands exactly what I meant with it's a feature and not a bug. I'm going to propose a fix to all of this and let's get the stuff sorted. I know that the devs have taken my advice in the past on fixing the Grapple, so hopefully they will listen to me once again, since I'm also going to propose a fair nerf to the Raptor that was a long time coming in my honest opinion. Now, some wires got crossed. I understand the confusion. I simply made the video way too fast and without thinking it through, and I didn't phrase it correctly. So once again, let's fix that, get everyone on the same page. Let's go. When I said that it's a feature and not a bug, I was referring to the fact that an Omniraptor being latched onto a moving target drains its stamina. That was intended and it came out with the Grapple update, like almost a year ago. And yeah, based on that statement alone, it can be taken very broadly that I'm trying to justify the things showed in Koga's video. However, that is not what I meant. For example, it does not mean that a 50 kg juvie should be able to do that to a 10-ton animal, or that it's configured correctly, as the drain is simply insane. Additionally, with the new upgrade to pounce, the stamina cost got out of hand, to the point where a raptor loses close to nothing and a 10-ton creature loses its entire bar by simply walking. But before we all jump on the Nerf Omniraptor bandwagon and destroy a part of its kit by simply saying remove the ability to drain it, cause that's what I was afraid of and made the video for, I want to remind you guys of the grapple mechanic that goes hand in hand with the stamina drain tactic. And the Raptor simply needs this as bucking got significantly cheaper, and the RNG can throw you off easily. However, and this is where wires got crossed, there are definitely some changes and nerfs that need to be made. So what needs to be changed? For starters, the bug needs to be fixed that allows Omni to pounce for almost no cost whatsoever. The bug already existed, but it got way worse with the way that the neutral pounce currently works. You see, by spamming the damage bounce, so just clicking your left mouse button and spamming it, you can reduce the cost for a neutral bounce by 50% and stay on twice as long, astronomically long in fact. This needs to be addressed, and obviously fixed. Now the neutral bounce only takes stamina every 5 seconds, as a side effect to the buffs that Trudon has received. And frankly, that itself is not really an issue. It's actually quite nice to give this otherwise useless bounce, a usage. But let's get into what I think needs to be changed, and stick around to hear about the proposed nerf I have to fix something else that everyone is tired of. Like, let's just fix the entire playable at this point. So first and foremost, as I mentioned, the bug with the damage bounce yada yada costing 50% less than the neutral bounce yada yada needs to be fixed and solved, just that's one. Also, then we need to add some weight calculations, and this is really important. I will try to visualize everything on screen so that you guys can follow me with this. Basically, we need weight calculations, where the amount of stamina drain should depend on the weight that is latched onto you. I think for the math formula, anything below 5% of a target's weight should not drain anything, and simply be considered insignificant. Around 5% and above is when it should start taking an effect. Here are some contextual examples. Elephants, they can carry 10 to 25% of their weight, but they show signs of fatigue and behavioral changes on the constant loads exceeding 10%. Humans, like backpack loads over 20 or 25% of our body weight drastically increase our fatigue and injury risk. Then you have draft animals, like oxen for example. They often pull loads equal to or exceeding their body weight, but this burns stamina fast and affects movement efficiency. And I didn't just come up with these numbers, I did some research so I could be as accurate as possible with this. Like, as you guys know, we're gonna go for that full 150% plus ultra bullshit. Let's use the trike for example. A trike is 9.5 tons, meaning 5% would be 475 kilograms and 10% would be 950 kilograms. In this example, a single raptor should not be able to stamina drain it, unless it's an elder Omniraptor that can weigh up to 650. But also, multiple raptors could latch on and it would start taking an effect. And having these calculations will help as soon as Allo gets released to follow these same guidelines, cause surprise surprise, Allo and Rex they follow some of the Omni rules when it comes down to pin mechanics, and Allo follows it when it comes to grappling, so it is simply better if we get that sorted ahead of time. Alright, so now we have some logic in place to go with, and the only question becomes how much drain it should give. And I think, and it's just my personal opinion, devs could change this on a whim, so don't take these numbers for granted, but I think 5% of target weight, so entry level to start draining, should be a low amount, like 0.5 stamp per second or per tick, if the trike is walking. And then we could double that number for a sprint, so 1% per second, or tick. And yeah, and then we could double that number for every extra 5% of its weight added on top. And then we kept that at 50%, where it should start having the max effect on the animal. And it should also start to affect an animal so severely that it can no longer sprint and only trot, as a compensation for that. And of course, we got the grapple mechanic that can bring something to its knees, and this occurs at 101% of target's weight, or less if the target has been stamina drained and fatigued, because that's what we're using stamina draining for. I personally think setting it up like this would make everything flow quite nicely, and it also gives the player control over how much stamina is being drained from them. Additionally, if a player is standing still, the drain should be 0 as it currently is, and additionally to that, I want to suggest to make bucking cost 1% per tick, as the RNG we currently have is working just fine. And it also seems that heavier targets have more of an effect on the raptor than lighter targets, so that is already fairly balanced. So to summarize this, 0.5% stamina per tick on 5% weight, up to 5% stamina at 50% weight latched on. And the other player could regulate the drain by choosing to walk or sprint. Above 50% of its weight, the player would lose the ability to sprint due to all of the added weight, but would still be able to buck and lose 0 stamina by standing still, and instead lose stamina to bucking, which is then 1% per tick. It kind of provides counterplay and opportunity for skillful responses when you're being swarmed by raptors. Skillful meaning having the knowledge of what to do in what scenario. And finally, at 101% of target's weight, a grapple could occur at a lower threshold if the target falls below 20% stamina and enters fatigue and exhaustion. Simple stuff. Although it is quite a mouthful to say it out like that. This would balance all of it without flat out nerfing and removing a part of the raptor's kit. It just needs some love and tinkering. The Allosaurus will use the same stuff, so nerfing the raptor essentially means you're going to be nerfing Allo before it's even released. So think twice if that is really what you want. I know many of you are waiting for Allo. Don't nerf it. Now, speaking about nerfs, here's a much needed nerf for the raptor. The solo pin. Let's get into that and make it better than it's ever been before. You guys are going to love this one. Currently, if a raptor catches you and you're lighter than it, you get pinned to the floor and ta-da, you are dead. Without anything you can do, you might as well just get up, walk to the kitchen, grab yourself a drink while the pin occurs. And I kind of want to change that. So this is what I propose to change. First, let's change how the animation looks. You might think like, what the fuck? How does this nerf it? But stick with me here and listen. Let's change the animation to put a pinned dinosaur on its backside. Now we can do something. We can add bucking to it. By holding E, the pinned down dino could attempt to kick the raptor off. And for this, we're also going to be using a weight formula. The closer you are in weight to the raptor that is pinning you down, the higher the chance you have to kick it off. And we should cap that as well. You would have to be at least 50% of the raptor's weight in order to kick it off. Because a hipsy kicking off a raptor would simply be insane. I'm not gonna lie, so let's stick to that, cap it 50% and above. Now we can apply simple math, and I think we should do it as following. So first of all, below 50% of Raptor's weight should give you 0% chance to kick it off per second or tick. 50% of Raptor's weight should give you 10% chance. 60% of the Raptor's weight should give you a 20% chance, 70 should give you a 30% chance, 80 should give you a 40% chance, 90 should give you a 50% chance, and 100% of the Raptor's weight should give you a 60% chance to kick it off per second. Above 100% giving you a 75% chance to kick it off, and this is for those galleys out there that are just tired of getting pinned down by Raptors and feeling like they're useless. This nerf would no longer make the pin completely overpowered. Like, yeah, it would still be strong. I mean, it needs to be strong because it's its main ability, but it will give the other player a chance to survive. Of course, you will be bleeding afterwards, depending on the duration you were pinned for, but now it can be survived. Raptors that are heavier than you will still be lethal and dangerous, as they should be, but now you have a chance. So all in all, those 3 things I would change to make Raptor work out. 1. Fix the bug with the spamming the damage bounce and making it last forever. 2. Introduce weight calculations as proposed. And then 3. Nerf the solo pin as proposed. Hopefully I've cleared the air with this one and you can all understand my perspective a bit better as to what I meant with my previous video. And yeah, once again, apologies for just not explaining myself better. I did it way too fast. I really skill issue there. Yeah, hopefully this fixes all that. I wish you guys a lovely day. Let's pray Rex drops anytime soon now, because I'm really hyped for a Rex. I'm waiting for the ability to finally touch it and, But yeah, that's it for today. Cheers.